Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time you are watching this. I hope you are doing well. The video you are watching is a driving test at SIDCUP Driving Test Center on the 29th of April 2025. Unfortunately, this was a fail, and for just one little reason, and I'm going to show you that when we get to that point, you want to use this as a reminder of the importance of not missing this during your test. So there were only 3 driving faults on this driving test, and these driving faults were 1 for move off safety, 1 for move off control, and the final one for junctions observation. Now, of course, as I mentioned, there was 1 serious fault, and we're going to get there very soon, so keep watching and you see it shortly. But anyways, let's go on and see what we can pick out from this driving test. So the time for this test was at 9:37 in the morning, and this was a beautiful Tuesday morning, so the weather was good. So, you know, the type of day that you would love to pass your driving test and have the rest of the day off. So yeah, in case you've got your test at this time, you never know, maybe this could be the route you'd find yourself on. So pay attention and see what you can learn from this, if there are any particular areas or any points during the test that you feel you might need to work on during your lessons to make it better for you or easier for you during your test. So yeah, keep in mind again, I have left the GPS coordinates on the screen, so just on your bottom left there is your GPS coordinates in case you want to drive to any of the positions during your lessons and maybe practice the area. Then that would help you get to that exact location. Okay, so this is our first roundabout, and the learner has gone through this successfully without any problem.
Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are now approaching Kratos Corner Roundabout. I finally got the name for this roundabout. I had no clue what the name was, but eventually, thankfully, thank God, with some instructors, I eventually know the name. It's Kratos Corner Roundabout or Kratos Roundabout. But anyways, this is where we failed. We failed at Kratos Corner Roundabout. And if you have watched my post on this roundabout, both on TikTok and on YouTube here, I continue to emphasize, especially if you're turning right, third exit for A224 North, please don't forget to check your left mirror before you change lane into that middle lane. This is why we had the serious fault. So here at the junction, the learner is going to be turning right, third exit A224 North, and she progressed into the roundabout successfully with no problem all the way into the right lane. Now you're going to see what happened here. Okay, so we've gone into this roundabout here, and from this point she could have just continued straight, but she steered too much to the right with the bend, so which leaves her still in the right lane. But then as she comes back into the middle here, she did not check the left mirror. Now let's rewind that again and see what went wrong properly in slow motion. So here again is the learner driver coming into the roundabout, and behind the learner driver is a van who is also going into the right lane. So as you pass this floor marking for A224 North, at this point a quick mirror check and then start moving into the middle lane. And the reason why it is so important to start moving at this point is that the longer you leave that middle lane open, the higher the chance of someone else moving into that lane and then making it more difficult for you. And at that point it becomes even extra important that you check that mirror. And this could be either another driver coming into the roundabout from the same entrance you came in from, or drivers from this entrance on the left here. But instead, the driver steered too much to the right and remained fully in the right lane. And doing this kept that middle lane open for whoever else wanted to use it, because it is not going to make anyone around you feel like if perhaps you're going to remain in that right lane. So at this point, you can now see the van driver behind now taking up that middle lane before the learner driver. But then the learner driver comes in at this point, steers back into the middle lane eventually, but unfortunately without mirror checks. Now during the briefing at the end of the test, the examiner did mention that although this situation was actually not a dangerous one, because there was a safe gap between the learner driver and the van behind, but the problem and the question here was that what if that van was to have been closer, or maybe another vehicle? Then the learner would have still continued with that lane change without being aware of the potential danger that was around. And definitely, of course, the examiner's reasoning was justified. So I felt like if the learner driver had actually done that move just after that 224 North sign on the floor there, it is possible that the examiner could have maybe given a minor fault, because the danger or the hazard wasn't there yet. The lane was empty, there was no one there. But leaving that space and then keeping right, and then someone else goes into that space, it changes the dynamics of that situation. And this is why it's important. Please, changing at the correct time is important, and making sure you check your mirrors is even much more important. So please let this remind you, mirror check before you change lane or direction or movement, please. And of course, another thing you need to bear in mind, which I know myself, and if I was to be an examiner, I probably would have done the same thing this examiner did, because of what I know that this roundabout, there is a lot of times where you come in here with other drivers around you who are also unfamiliar with the lane positioning at this roundabout. So the potential danger that is always around you. And this is also caused by the fact that there is no floor markings at the entrance. So when you're staying in that left or right lane, drivers can either use the left lane to go into the middle lane, or they can also use the right lane to go into the middle lane as you enter that roundabout. So it makes it much more important that you are doing the right things at the right time, and you don't want to be moving your positions and changing your directions or changing lanes without checking your mirror to see the whereabouts of other road users around you. This is very important, and you don't want to take it lightly or forget it. Now, if you haven't seen my video on dealing with Kratos roundabout, then you can also check that in SIDCUP's playlists and you would find it there. It is very important to know how to deal with this roundabout properly and correctly, because you have to remember that if you do this too early as well, you can potentially then be going into the lane for those people going for the second exit, which is A20 West. So when I say after that A224 sign, that should be as you come through that bend. Don't steer too much to your right. It then becomes too difficult to do that transition back to the middle lane. But yeah, watch that video and hopefully that should help you on dealing with it. And obviously practice with your instructor or whoever helps you with your driving and your lessons, and you become more familiar and more confident with dealing with that roundabout. And most importantly as well, you get that opportunity to actually see what goes on at that roundabout, how other drivers also drive there. Maybe perhaps when you go around it 1, 2, 3, 4 times and you see that it's you see what goes on there, that you can be very close to a near miss on one opportunity, and then another opportunity everyone is behaving very well, like the way it's supposed to be, then that might just wake you up to the importance of your mirror checks before moving around at that roundabout. Now remember, again, I mentioned in my a video on dealing with this roundabout, the first time I went into that roundabout as well, I was a little bit unclear which lane to remain on going into that A20 West, if it was to be the left and then moving to the middle lane, or if it was to be the right and then moving to the middle lane, because there's no flow marking there. So yeah, anyone could be in that position. Sometimes it is not intentional, sometimes it's just a matter of not being familiar with the road. Hence why it is important that you are using your mirrors and you're looking and checking around before moving your direction or your position. But yeah, anyways, check that video and hopefully that should help you. So let's continue with the test.
La casa del merengue, y la casa de la bachata. Música, 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 te traigo música, música.
And if on your test you're also taking the first exit left at this mini roundabout ahead, please keep your mind open. Don't miss the zebra crossing right before the roundabout, and the zebra crossing again just immediately as you exit, just right here, because it is very easy to pay attention to the traffic on the roundabout, trying to plan yourself ahead, and then you actually are not responding to the zebra before the roundabout and the one immediately after the roundabout, especially if the road is busy and you're waiting eagerly for a safe gap to go, and then as soon as you see one, you just step on that gas, but they're not realizing there's someone crossing or there are pedestrians crossing at the zebra. So yeah, keep that in mind. And of course, at this width restriction, as usual, drop that speed as slow as possible, as she has done here. 0 miles an hour, 1 miles an hour, whatever makes it safe. It is not about the speed, it is about passing it safely without knocking your mirrors or going over that pavement. So take your time, but don't sleep there.
Música, música de la República. Ajá.
And at this junction, the learner gets a minor fault for junctions observation. So if you look on your right as the truck is passing, we've got that black car coming through, and that was close, but luckily not too close. So yes, take your time at junctions, especially if there are traffic or vehicles crossing in front of you to turn right. While you're waiting for them, situations can change on the road and you don't want to miss it. And right here, they're coming to do the maneuver. So the learner has pulled up on the right and she's going to be reversing to car length. Now watch what happens after the second car passes the driver, which obviously she's waiting to drive off after that car. So as you saw there, she reverses again instead of driving forward. So she forgot to change her gear into drive, and because of that she gets a minor fault for move off control. Now, pulling up behind this Vauxhall Astra here was very close. Now, surprisingly, she didn't get any minor faults there. But be very careful. Don't pull up too close to another vehicle like that. So here they are coming back to the test center, which is leading to the end of the test. And I believe you would have seen yourself that this was actually a pretty good drive. But unfortunately, for that one mistake at that roundabout, that head twist caused this learner to fail this driving test. So please, please, please don't forget your mirror checks, especially if you're changing position, changing lane, or making a turn. Don't forget your mirror checks. Don't forget it. I can't emphasize it. You see that roundabout, Kratos roundabout? Don't forget to check that roundabout there. It's just too risky not to remember to do that, because again, like I said previously, some people are just using that roundabout for the first time. Some people maybe even second or third time, and they still haven't got a hang of it yet, and will probably maybe find themselves in the wrong lane. And if you don't know and you're just changing lane without checking your mirror, that could be potentially very dangerous. So that is really it for this test, and we have come to the end of it. I really do hope you find it useful, and if you do, please like the video, share the video if you know anyone who can benefit from it, and don't forget, leave a comment below if you've got any questions whatsoever. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel and you are finding yourself returning to this channel to watch these videos to help you with your test, then please, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. It would really help, the channel, and help provide and do more of these driving test videos as well as the test route videos. So that is really it. I would see you in the next video again. So stay blessed, one love, peace, and I'm out.